Hi everybody, this is Jessica, the Enneagram Life Coach, and this series of videos is on how each of us are causing problems unknowingly in our relationships, some of the blind spots that each of the types have. And today we're going to talk about type 5s. I call them curious investigators. And you don't have to be a 5 to connect to or to understand this or to resonate with these. But if you are a 5, these are some of the main issues that people who are in a relationship with you have. And here's the thing about 5s, they might not even care. 5s are our least relational driven type. So, yeah, do what you will with that. But here's what happens when people are in relationships with type 5s. So, first of all, it can feel like the 5 is not being open emotionally. Fives process if they process their emotions at all, which a lot of 5s will report not even having emotions anywhere on their radar. But if they have emotions at all, they want to process them privately and very slowly on their own time. And the partner can be left for days or weeks or months not knowing what the 5 is thinking and what the 5's take is on, a situation or an issue. And that can be very frustrating for people in a relationship with 5. The next thing is the isolation. 5s love to isolate and withdraw into their very active minds. And they can do that by going into their hobbies or their interests, reading or studying or learning, and that's how they recharge. But when they do that, they sort of lock out everybody and the whole world, everybody and everything other than their interest. And so that feels like walls going up. It is walls going up, and it's felt that way by people in relationships with them. So it can feel like they are not even interested in any type of relationship because they're just fixated on whatever their projects are or their studies, or it can even be like an activity that they do all the time that they're trying to get better at. But that's hard for people trying to connect to 5s. Hoarding energy. So, one of the core issues at 5 is avarice or hoarding. They feel like there is somehow not enough of all the things that they need and that people are demanding too much from them, and they feel intruded on all the time. And they will hoard this. When we say that they're hoarding, we don't just mean that they could be hoarding resources and tangible things, but that also might be true. But we especially mean emotional energy or emotion or feelings. I mean, so they don't share those, and a 5, since they feel like people are intrusive. If you know a 5, or you're friends with a 5, or you work with a 5, or you're related to a 5, or you're married to a 5 like I am, you when somebody asks the 5 for something, it can be something seemingly small, and to the 5 it feels like absolutely exhausting and like something that they're not even going to have the energy to do it. It's like the 5 makes it like anything that you need from them is a burden to them, and it's like they'll put it on their schedule and they will get back to you. And that also feels like being locked out. Do you see the pattern here? The pattern here is locked out. The next issue with 5s is intellectualizing their feelings. They think their feelings from the neck up. They often are not processing them or engaging them. They're certainly not activating their heart. That's, of course, a fear response because as they're right to say that to activate your heart is to expose yourself and make yourself quite vulnerable. That's true. But what that can lead to is they are treating all parts of a relationship, including the emotional connection parts, as like data. And they are trying to process their whole relationship from a data standpoint, neglecting the not just emotional, but I would say also active physical, like impulsive or just regular bodily connections. So I've seen fives in relationships, like when they're talking about the people they're in relationships with, they are expecting it to work like equations. Like, oh, well, if this and that, then my partner obviously this and that. And it's like, well, that people are not that predictable. Fives want people in the world to be so predictable, but it's not like that. But they will try to make their relationships like that. And in fairness, they do live their own lives like that a lot of the time. And so they, of course, and we all do this, they sort of on some level expect that that can just be applied to other people. That the same way that they shut out in their, what they believe that they do is shut out emotions and act logically all the time. Now, the reality is they're not always logic. They are sometimes illogical, but they will believe, because fives do have a bit of an arrogance that they are right, because they've thought about things and they have thought about things, but they sometimes miss a lot of the other parts of the world or life that other people can see. Fives just literally can't even see, right? This video is about blind spots. So when they intellectualize relationships, they're missing out on the bodily energy and the heart energy that is also very much part of the human existence and part of their relationships. And finally, their arrogance makes it where they will not ask for collaboration or help. And this comes from this thing, they want to be self-reliant so that they don't have to be connected to other people in a way that feels intrusive or suffocating to them. But what that can do is make it so that they do not look outside to gather any other input other than what they've already researched. And it is true that they usually do a lot of research. I mean, probably always do a lot of research, right? A five's world is created by gathering data and making decisions. But what they miss is other people also see other things that they cannot see. And they really miss that. And so if you're in close relationship with a five, it's really important, because big decisions, like if it's your romantic partner, which I will say my five is actually very good at this. If you are in a close relationship with a five, it's very important that that five shares with you their process and their information for making big decisions, and doesn't just try to make those decisions by themselves, because they're missing a whole bunch of things. And the wild thing is they don't believe that they are. So they are blinded to what they can't see, right? They don't know what they don't know. And in their arrogance, they can think, well, I've already researched it and I already know everything about it. And when they do that, they don't include others. And so if it's a coworker or if it's a friend, or like I said, it's even worse if it's a partner, they kind of can treat the relationship as if all of the decisions are theirs to make on their own. And that's not true. When we're in relationships, it's 50-50 in all things, including decision making. Okay, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.